I have a really easy summer recipe for you. It's smoky baby back ribs, and everything is made in the oven, no grill required. To start off with, I'm making a delicious rub. I have a half a cup of dark brown sugar in this bowl, and to that I'm adding a third of a cup of coarse salt. This is a really easy recipe for a rub that's great on a lot of different things, and I'm making about double the amount I'm gonna need here. This is a quarter cup of Cajun seasoning, and then 3 tablespoons of sweet paprika. Don't use the smoky stuff, that would be completely overwhelming. A teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper, and then a teaspoon and a half of mustard powder, ground dried mustard, and the same amount of cayenne, a teaspoon and a half. Stir it together and you have your delicious smoky, well, the rub's not that smoky. I'm gonna make a smoky barbecue sauce later when I finish my ribs off. Put about half of the spice rub away for later. Make sure that you label it. You know what it is. You don't want to look in your pantry later in the summer and say, what is that stuff? I'm just going to get rid of it. No, don't do that. Label it, date it, then you'll always know what you have on hand. Put it in your pantry for a later date. Over here, I have 2 racks of baby back ribs. Sometimes when you buy ribs, the membrane that's on the back of the ribs that sort of holds them together has been removed, and sometimes it hasn't. And you kind of want to remove it because as they cook, the membrane won't break down, and it will give the illusion that the ribs are kind of tough because it'll hold everything together when they're really cooked. So you want to remove that if you can, or maybe your butcher has removed it. I like to just loosen it and get my fingers underneath the membrane here. And then if you use a piece of paper towel, you can grab onto it and just pull it off all in one piece. So just grab onto it. You see how it's lifting up and there's this membrane like that? Now you can just pull the whole thing off. It should pull off, but I think it's separated at the point, so I'll pull it off in 2 pieces. That's okay too. Or like 16 pieces. It worked so well when I did it before. Basically, you're just trying to remove that membrane. If it comes off all in one piece, lucky you. If it doesn't, well, you're just like me. There's more than one way to skin a rack. I'm just using the tip of my knife to sort of get underneath the very end of the membrane, and now I'm pulling it. Now this is actually coming off much better. See, if you get it right and it's not, it's actually kind of fun when it works. Ta-da! Now the membrane has been removed. You can get rid of that. And now your ribs are ready to rub. Lay each rack individually on a piece of parchment lined foil and then rub half of the remaining rub over each rack. And remember, all that cayenne pepper in the rub, make sure you wash your hands really well afterwards before you touch your eyes or anything like that. Kind of spice it and make your eyes hurt. Really what you're looking to do is just get a really nice coating on it and then save all the rest. It may not be quite half the rub for these 2 racks because baby back ribs are kind of small, so you never know. All right, make sure it's nice and well coated. While my hands are dirty, I'm gonna do the other one. Okay, I'm gonna wash my hands because they're kind of chilly-y, and then I'll come back and wrap these up. Dirty, spicy hands. Oh my God, it's so sticking to my fingers. I tasted a little bit, it was delicious. Ready to move on. Alrighty, now all you need to do is wrap your ribs up. Make sure that your oven is preheating to 200 degrees when you wanna start cooking these, because that's the temp you need to cook them at. You're gonna cook them low and slow for about 2.5 hours or until they're tender. Put them on a baking sheet. These ribs are gonna need to bake for about 2.5 hours at 200 degrees, just until they're tender. When your ribs are almost done, make a smoky barbecue sauce. This is a really easy barbecue sauce. I'm using chili sauce as the base. 1 cup of chili sauce. Nothing like sriracha, but like a mild chili sauce. More like a spicy ketchup. Add that to a 1/4 cup of chopped chipotles and adobo. That's where the smokiness in the name comes from. If you like a little bit less spice, use less chipotle in the glaze or less cayenne pepper in the rub. One or the other, or even both. And 2 tablespoons of honey. And that's it. It's very, very simple. Especially gonna go well with that spicy rub. Stir everything together, and then you can get your ribs out of the oven and glaze them. Take the ribs out of the oven and turn the broiler on. You want to unwrap them. Get rid of the foil and put them on your baking sheet. Make sure your broiler is on now. This part you can actually do on the grill as well. So if you want to do it in the broiler, do it in the broiler. If you want to finish them on the grill, it's a great idea. Spread your sauce over your ribs. You can do it on both sides if you want. Do the first side, then turn them over and do the second side. I'm going to do the bone side, then I'll turn it back over, brush the meat side again, and then they go in under the broiler just until they're bubbling and browned. Shouldn't take more than a couple minutes. Once they're nice and bubbly and golden brown, you take them out, you eat them. That's all that's left to do. Just gonna slide one of these off. I'm gonna cut them up and see how they taste. I have a feeling it's gonna be very good. Cut straight between the bones, really easy because they're so nice and tender, and then eat. No instructions required. They're sweet, they're spicy, they're sticky, they're delicious, and they're so easy. Make 5 times this much for a big, huge party, and it'll be no work at all. Your friends are gonna love them, you're gonna love them. Oh my gosh, I can't stop. I'm just gonna eat the whole rack of ribs myself. Festive, fun ribs in the oven.